everybody. Welcome back into Bike Time. I'm Harry McCullough. We're spending some time with Jim Wendell, who, of course, is the Terrebonne Parish Parks and Recreation and Minister. And Jim, I know it's been a busy time, a lot of recovery, a lot of, we always say it seems like now it's 2.5 years instead of just 2 years from COVID. Now 2.5 years is COVID plus Ida. But from a Parks and Recreation standpoint, having infrastructure and all the things that have happened in this parish from Ida, I guess, is a completely different deal than dealing with COVID. So give us some updates. And first of all, how are we doing physically on all of that stuff?
Well, we originally got the COVID shut down, the first one, which threw us for a loop. So while we were in the off time getting things done, we came up with cleaning plans and everything for facilities. So when we were allowed to reopen, it could be done safely. We modified, reopened when we were allowed to. We started some sporting programs, and then when those were coming to an end, we had to refund some registrations for the next programs that were up, and we were shut down for the second time. So we were really throwing a curveball, and as soon as that tapered down a little bit and we were ready to go again, we started registering. We had a huge turnout. People were just ready to get out the house, going stir crazy, and here comes Ida.
Right.
And Ida different from COVID quite a bit, because in COVID you could look out there and see the facilities, and the kids wanted to go out, and it was such a big change of life when Ida hit. We have facilities that are damaged, some that need to be rebuilt, some that need to be demolished. Out of the 17 gyms in the parish, we have 2 or 3 that won't be available for use until the end of 2022, some of them mid-2023 because of the repairs that need to be made, then the refurbishment of the inside when it's done. Now, all of those properties are managed by one of the 11 different recreation districts, so each of those boards are working on getting it done. So we keep in constant contact with them to find out what we're allowed to use, not only insurance-wise, but safety-wise, what's still there, what's been repaired. So they update us quite a bit. So as we progress through our series of sports offerings, we can, get the best bang for our buck and maybe have to modify something a little bit in order to make it happen.
Yeah, actually 15 out of 17 is not horrible, right? I was expecting, more like 7 or 8 of them would have been damaged. So, I mean, you're getting them back together, and they might have been damaged, just not until 23.
Most of them are coming together well, but the ballparks and things like that, the outside things are a different story. A lot of the light poles are down, the stadium lightings. We've had press boxes that have come down on top of the bleachers, and all that's thrown around, all the fencing ripped down. So ball fields are taking a little bit more time, but it's not brick and mortar, so it's a little bit less labor intensive to get those repaired as well.
Right, you can always find a field, right? You can cut the grass and rake it up and at least play, although the parents may have to stand up to watch a game. Right?
Bring your own chairs.
So what about that assessment of all of those parks? Are we kind of hanging in there? We're doing all right, or it took a lot of damage, I imagine?
They took a lot of damage. Well, of course, parks have a lot of green space, so they were, cutting trees, removing that out of there. A lot of times a park that no one's using, takes a lower priority over a city street or a thoroughfare. So it took us a little while to get the ball rolling, damage assessments, making sure whether it's a FEMA claim or insurance claim, that we had all the documentation needed. But I've been around to majority of the areas, and everything is moving along.
Good. Yeah, that's so important, especially coming out of everything, that we get back outside, we get kids back to participating together with one another, teams, all that kind of stuff. So you got registrations coming up. You got a bunch of stuff coming up. So we got some slides that we want to go through.
The first one that we have, this is our 2021 lineup that we went through. We were able to do our training league basketball, which is our younger 5-6-year-old kids, to get them, introduced to the game. We were able to do our baseball and softball season for 2021. It was modified a little bit with COVID, as well as T-ball. Flag football we were able to pull off and complete. Now, flag football was a new sport for last year, so we did get it done. We are going to continue that into this coming year. Our football season and cheer season, our tackle football, which we really have a lot of turnout for those two things, football and cheer. We weren't able to have that or volleyball because of Ida.
Right. That was in the fall.
That was in the middle. And our basketball season that we usually have in November, December rolls a little bit into January. We had to push that back until gyms were able to be, put in playable condition. The few gyms that we are using.
So that's in progress. So
that's in progress.
The kids playing right
We
now.
finished registering about 2 weeks ago. Practices started, I believe, mid last week, and we have games that are scheduled to start within the next week or so.
So at least they'll be playing during March Madness, maybe. Right?
So we have them going.
Yeah.
So that's where we've been. That's some of the things that we have done or we're unable to do. But the whole time that we were, looking back, hindsight's 2020. But the whole time that we talked to people during COVID and we talked to people during Ida, because when we were out there in the fields, all the recreation staff were reassigned to different jobs to support recovery and rescue and things like that. And the thing that we kept hearing from all the people was not only do they want their kids to go back to playing sports,
Right.
but also, they wanted to do something themselves. We talked a lot about memories, and I guess when you see everything that you've owned damaged
Right.
or you have no place to call home,
Right.
it kind of pulls at your heartstrings. And these folks gave us some feedback of we'd like to see some adult sports. So, coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk about those sports that we have offering, because we have quite a big lineup of adult sports that are coming up as well.
No, that's great. And you're right. It's not just a kid event. This is for everybody to get out and enjoy recreation. Y'all got a lot of programs that are trying to get underway and get out of this last 2.5 years this cloud we've been under.
From the feedback that we received from the public, taking in all the IDA considerations, we have put out our full year schedule. We do have a slide on that. We have all of this information is available on our social media accounts. Facebook, we have these flyers available, and it just tells you what the sport is, what the registration dates are, what the age requirements are, and when games are scheduled to begin. Now, in bold at the bottom of both of them, it does say date subject to change. We do have some upcoming sports like baseball and softball that we don't have the fields completely ready yet. So we may have to adjust those dates, push them back a couple of weeks. But the plan moving forward, President Dove, everybody wants, recreation programming back to get these people out of the house, to get the community involved. And we do have a full schedule planned. The slide on the left does show the recreation schedule, and these are the programs that we've always had, the newly added flag football that carries over from last year. The right-hand slide is the new adult programs. Only thing recreation used to offer was basketball and softball, and we've got some feedback and are start to offer some additional programs.
So kickball is one that's going to, a lot of people like to play kickball, basketball. What are the new ones? The flag football?
Flag football for adults, kickball, and basketball. The next slide actually shows us the two adult sports that we have registering at this time, which are the Adult Kickball League, which registration is ongoing, and the Adult Basketball League. So if people want to sign up for that, the only thing that differs from youth registration to adult registration is the kids, we accept individual registrations. They come in, we assign them to teams. On the adult teams, because it's such a cumbersome thing to do, you have to register as a team. So that could be a group of neighbors, group of co-workers, a pool tournament, a Mardi Gras float, whatever it is. You come to us with a team, and we do have some requirements. It has to have a minimum of 12, maximum of 20. But it's all good, clean fun. So we plan on having a kickball league and basketball to start off.
Where are they going to play these games?
The kickball is actually going to be at the Bayou Country Sports Park, and the adult basketball we usually have at 1 or 2 gyms, because that usually starts right as our recreation basketball season is ending.
Right.
So we do free up some gym space so they can go in there and do that.
So, only a couple of weeks away, actually. So March 10th will be the start off, the kickoff. Now, obviously, you got to do the registration and all that. You can start doing that now. But you can see the games will begin March 10th, and then the March 22nd for basketball. So time's now to get going.
Right. And in our past basketball and softball seasons that we've had, a lot of people have called and said, hey, I want to get on a team, but we don't we don't put the teams together. The teams have to come as a complete team.
I got you.
So on our Facebook page, we have 3 groups in there, and one of them is flag football, one of them is kickball, and one of them is adult basketball. And we set it up as a discussion area, and I've checked it earlier, and people have gone in there and posted. There's one lady in there. She says, I'm a 50-year-old female looking to join a kickball team.
Oh, I got you.
So just a place where
Yeah, it's a great way to meet people.
the general public can go who don't work with people or aren't on a Mardi Gras float or something like that to get together
Right.
and find 10 or 12 people that want to go out there
Sure.
and get some exercise and have some fun with
Oh,
it.
look, it'd be great. A lot of people moving in town, right? Helping with insurance or
Right.
or carpentry or whatever. A lot of people, there are a lot of different people, and if you don't know anybody, it's a great way to get.
Exactly.
So we saw it for a second, but the flag football
The flag
league is
football
also
is another offering that's coming later in the year. I think it begins in March.
Yeah.
Registration is not currently open for that, but it is
Right.
the same process. It's going to be a 5-week program. Registration starts in March, and you do have to come with a complete team. But we do have a discussion group on our Facebook page that you can get in there and find a team if you don't currently have one.
Yeah, no, that's good. So as we continue to move along, the pre-prep league basketball, that's ages 13 to 17?
Right. Currently, we just finished registering and are starting playing games for our 7 through 12-year-olds.
Right.
Pre-prep is an older age group for the kids who aren't on school teams
Right.
who want to get out there and play. This kind of keeps the older kids off the street, keeps them from getting in too much trouble.
They're not playing at midnight, right?
They're not playing at midnight. Normal schedules, but
And I don't mean to make a joke about
Right.
it. I was in New Orleans when they did play at midnight.
exactly. They don't have enough gym space to run this age group at the same time the other age group is running. So usually when the recreation, the younger group is finished, that's when the adult and the pre-prep move in and take over the gyms, for their cycle of games. So we used to have a lot of participation in this. The last couple of years, it's died off a little bit. Of course, we had trouble with schools, trouble with COVID, trouble with things. So we're hoping that this really takes off. And 13 to 17-year-olds, this is co-ed. A lot of the other sports are, we have boys teams and girls teams. This is just the older age group that wants to get out there and have fun. The same kids that
Play
when
boys
you-
and girls.
Yeah, the same kids that when you pass on, by
Men and
gyms,
women.
you see them out there,
Right.
playing a,
Sure.
3-on-3 or something outside the gym. This gives them a, some sort of organized thing where they have a referee and they can really get out there and do what they have to do.
Right. No, that's good. And look, man, I mean, y'all have done a good job. You go just pass around some of the outdoor gyms, man. They got great backboards and great nets and all. I remember as a kid, that was rare to find that. But,
We used to
Mulberry's
nail
got a nice new
we
one.
nail a bucket to a light pole and, use that as a goal.
Exactly. And we're talking about, all the change that's happened in the last couple of years, especially, with facilities.
Right.
At first, there was nobody could go outside. Then if people can go outside, there's nothing outside left. So, but everything's coming together, and the spring sports are coming, right? So you got a little basketball. That's going to go all the way until March, push back, and then the spring sports come. So softball and baseball are around the corner.
Softball and baseball, which is probably the 2 biggest sports, with football being the 3rd. Stickball is really popular in Terrebonne Parish. Actually, the registration is scheduled to start February 14th, which is just next week.
Right.
As I said before, we are in daily communications with the recreation districts, and we may have to adjust some of these start times by a week or 2 because, they're out there moving dirt and replacing poles. Electricians are out there rewiring stuff. Safety is the utmost priority, but the parish administration really wants these to go off without a hitch and get people out there. So games are scheduled to begin April 18th if we don't have to adjust the schedule a little bit too much with the ball fields, but looking for some good times with that. The kids really get out there and enjoy that stickball.
When you talk about baseball and softball, a lot of times kids will do that travel stuff. Did COVID affect that? Did your numbers go up or down during COVID because of the travel or lack of travel teams?
COVID, actually, baseball and softball was the first sport that COVID affected and we had to refund monies for. We had quite a few that were registered. I know some of the travel teams, they travel across to neighboring states and things like that. Some states had different regulations and requirements than us. I know some teams continue to practice as a team. Some teams practice with just pitcher and catcher. We also had pitcher and catcher camps that was new to TPR last year that we had going on, you know, when COVID hit. It was after the ball season. But the pitcher and catcher need to work together. The pitcher and the first baseman need to be able to work together. And some of the teams, travel teams, continue to do that and go through little tournaments. Last year, we were actually fortunate enough, President Dove allowed us to host the Southwest Regional, I believe, Babe Ruth softball tournament. And that was pretty big. We had several teams come to Terrebonne Parish, play at Bayou Country Sports Park. Dean was out there and really got the facility fixed up nice. The weather wasn't real nice to us, but they had tarps out there, like huge billboard tarps, and we would tarp the fields, and when the rain would stop, we would untarp them and play. And I tell you what, it was 4 or 5 days of some good ball games.
Yeah, I was just interested as to how that affected whether kids were still traveling all around like we used to, or they used to.
Right.
We used to know everybody in town because we all played.
Right. I don't think it was to the extent that it originally was, but there was still some going on. At that time.
Oh, good. So that's February 4th. Of course, Valentine's Day will be the opening registration for those guys.
And we'll update our social media and our website if those dates change because of facilities-induced delays.
I got you. So as always, this is where the adults can step up. You're going to need baseball and softball coaches, right?
Yes. We love to pre-plan and get all that done. Actually, right now we still need basketball coaches. This is a volunteer program, so you know you don't have to be an expert to be a coach. And a lot of people are intimidated. You ask them, "Hey, you interested in coaching?" And "Oh, I don't know much about baseball. I don't know this." Those kids just want to get out there and learn some fundamentals, throw the ball. Everybody get a chance to play and run. That's what recreation is. A lot of people think of it as competitive, and you hear the heckling in the stands and. These kids just want to play.
Learn.
Parents, we love parents. We love when parents get involved. And I tell you what, I've coached some things with my kids in the past. I coached a little buddy ball special needs program that we had that COVID affected us and Ida affected us again this year. But it's such a great feeling to go out there and you start off with kids picking clovers and kicking dirt. And after 3 or 4 weeks, you have a team. They're paying attention, and they're paying attention, and they're listening to what you're saying, and you feed off them, they feed off of you, and it's just a great experience. So we always need coaches. A lot of people like to wait to sign up to coach when the registration's going on. Unfortunately, our authorization process is a lot longer than that. You have to get a background check. There's some concussion training, CPR training for the head coach. So if there's something that you plan on coaching, your kid's eligible to start basketball this year, baseball, and you want to coach, give us a call. We'll get you a packet. We'll start the background check. We'll get everything ready. That way when it's time to register, you have a coach. We can populate your team. You can hit the ground running. Keep your eye on the ball because, you know, without coaches, we're
absolutely.
We go nowhere.
And, you know, and then look, if you want to make a little money, you can join the team, right?
Make a little money, come on down to the team. TPR always has the need for referees as well. Referees, umpires. You can strictly, you know, umpire ball games, softball, baseball. You can be a referee for basketball, volleyball. A lot of times we have the younger group that goes into college. So they work for us for 3 or 4 years, and then they get a full-time job somewhere and move out, and we lose those people. We have an older group that are diehard fans that do it, but those guys are like us. They're getting up in age, and it's hard to run up and down the basketball court for an hour and then do it 5 or 6 times in a row for 5 or 6 games. So we're always looking for officials. This is something that is a paid position through Terrebonne Parish government. You are a recreation employee, so if you visit tpcg.org and look under job opportunities, there are some links on there for scorekeeper, timekeeper, and officials.
Oh man,
or referees.
Yeah, that's awesome. And look, you know, we all should be nice to one another, even more so now, right? Yeah, we all been through a lot. So let's get those officials and give everybody a good hand. Well, Jim, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
That's Jim Wendell with the Terrebonne Parish Parks and Recreation. We'll be right back with more Bite Time after this.